let him kill off Asclepius, who went to the underworld. And but then Apollo went on a big sulk and refused to let the sun shine anymore. So it was a standoff, and therefore Zeus intervened and said, no, you can't go on. You've got to let Asclepius rise from the dead. And he went up to live in Mount Olympus, where anyone with any street cred ends up after death. And so that's the story of the healer god of the Greeks. It's a very druidical, but also a Christian story, because a lot of early Christians identified Christ as Asclepius. He was bringing the dead back from the life, bringing back to life people who died. I mean, that was unheard of. That was magical. That was divine. Only a son of God could do that, like Asclepius. And then he himself died, went into the underworld, but then resurrected, like Asclepius. So, and many early Christians were medical people like Luke. They saw and therefore they realized in a sense that Christ was operating within the boundaries of the Apollo mysteries. He also, his churches were doing music. They were doing healing. Christ was a prophet. He was a great teacher. He was a therapist. He believed in beauty, art. So Christianity, in a sense, took forward the torch of Apollo into, European history. And that's why I think the Delphic Games are worth renewing, because it's making our compact with Apollo. It's saying, actually, we need you back. Why do we need Apollo back specifically? Well, because Apollo was the lord of healing from pandemics. In the ancient classical world, if there was a plague or a pandemic, you would have a ritual organised by the town council or the city council for Apollo. You would plead with him to clear the planet or the city of that plague. So I'm saying let's revive the Delphic Games as a moral duty to help end this turmoil, end this chaos, this tragedy of 2 years and 6 million dead. Enough is enough, we need to bring back Apollo's worship, which is a rational worship. It's not sort of like something crazy. It's no, on the contrary. It's actually genuinely logical in the deepest sense of the word. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And if you're an artist or a poet or a painter or a dancer or a musician or a writer of plays or a sponsor of the arts or a businessman that wants to fund the arts, who believes in the arts, then please get in touch and we can talk about how we can help bring these Delphic Games even more into the public eye, if you work in the media or whatever. Okay, the other thing I've been up to is my work, as ever, with the World Intellectual Forum, which we meet at the end of each month, and that work is ongoing. And I'll say more about that next week. Right, so I'm going to finish there. I hope you've enjoyed my little roundup. It's not your normal news, is it? It's the kind of philosopher's news from Gaul and from the magical centre of ancient France and Europe. So I hope you're well. I hope you're staying free of this pandemic, and I hope your spirits are still up. Remember, you're made of the breath of God mixed with magical spells and the kisses of the goddess. I think if you remember that, we'll get through this. Okay, I'm going to finish with a poem, because this is my work as a poet. Yes. I don't want to choose too long a one. Let me see what I can find. Right, this is called Wandering Amidst the Words. I wrote this actually on a visit to Lyon, which I absolutely love as a city. It's a few hours' drive from here. It's absolutely amazing. There's a wonderful temple of Gallo-Roman history. It's where the Emperor Claudius was born. And it has an incredible library that has been going since the 1500s, which has one of the best collections in the whole of Europe for ancient books and texts and manuscripts and God knows what. And obviously, as a scholar, I just was in heaven. And I came out of the library and wrote this poem in a cafe. Wandering amidst the words, in love with dictionaries. So I made up whole new hieroglyphic languages. Babel had come and gone. Tomorrow had prophets enough for everyone. And the eyes of tigers shone out everywhere, like hidden names. Could be emeralds fallen from the sky, hiding beneath deep green holly leaves. Saying that all in one word. There were 3 words, lurking between no and yes. There were 10 sound steps nuanced between kiss me, don't kiss me. In my hieroglyphic language, each nuance had its own sign. Each step got extra lines of curves. Some were round as breast shapes, quivering. Laughter and groans and shrieks of glee pervaded the air. Everything was laughing and touching each other. Muses were redesigned as sciences, disciplinae, that intermerged and became friends with one another, chatting over the garden walls. Sociology to magic to anthropology to peace studies to economics to medicine. It was a right garden party going on in the backyards. And the sciences became enamoured muses, waiting for their Plato to come, so they could gush about new discoveries and friendships. Only some were coy. Then a subtle ripple would come over, suddenly something unclear like a fog, with a distant light piercing it, offering itself so everyone could drink from it. A few tears of jewelled drops. So in my hieroglyphic language, there were special words for different types of fidelity, whereby lovers could recognise if theirs were similar or different. Were they thickets or willows protecting the sleeping princesses? Could they recognise each other's truths as soul bone? White wood serves for the makers of a building to make it fireproof, plane-proof, bomb-proof. There were also words for the way the wind makes the watchers of distance lie-proof, humanistically incapable of dissemblance, unless a storm bird warning comes and is applicable after deep analysis. In my dictionary, each word has a purity, which can be lent to each other, similar in gradations of shapes, in a diamantine mosaic of hieroglyphic meanings, generally ranging out in every contiguous direction at once, simultaneously. And the paradoxes were imminent, from the first to the last, each jot and tittle of the curling script. So I made up the dictionary of hieroglyphs, which were untranslatable. They had no shape, so they couldn't be bought and sold. They couldn't be written down. They could only be thought in rare moments, as at dusk, looking at a summer sky covered with shades of blue, the colour of gravity. As you watch the sky gradually grade up to black, and the shimmer of last light on the far horizon leaves you breathless.